Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the Zerg player in the red, and one of the more creative expansion locations. It is SHIN. And coming down to join him, the probes in the blue, who can't believe this SHIN right here. It's Creator. A best of 3 PvZ, starting things off extra early. Is SHIN going to be blocking the expansion of the Protoss? A good bit of role reversal there. I'm always a fan of that. Which means this time around you should beg me for likes and subscribes. And how many? How many do I have to have, Jimmy? What? 1,312. Well, that's one way to get carpal tunnel. 1,312 likes on this series, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I would do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully this SHIN's about to make it a little bit better. As not intending on actually completing this hatchery, but essentially the same as when you proxy a pod on as Protoss, occasionally put down an engineering bay as Terran, the Zergs play at this game as well. And SHIN trying to throw the series into his favor by keeping control of the situation. He's even going to take the gas over here. A Zealot was built to just make sure things stay somewhat under control. And the Zealot will eventually work its way through. Of course, Creator can take the gas at the natural as it's finishing up, but this does delay the other parts of the build. Of course, it's not particularly cheap to send about 1/13 or 14th of your economy across the map and then build a hatchery in your opponent's base. That does slow things down. The probe's not actually able to kill the drone, so it's going to continue to get the scouting information, at least until the Adept comes in and does what the Zealot could not, which is attack anything out of melee range. So, already starting things off sideways, though it looks like no particularly unsavory intentions. Instead, SHIN it does keep control of the situation, and there's no better way to scout your opponent than to be directly in their base. So the oldest trick, not really trick, but oldest tactic of keeping tabs here will be successful. And now SHIN has delayed the Stargate. He's delayed the expansion. He's delayed his own expansion as well. Look at the drone count, 23 to 28. You do suffer pretty heavily in early larva when you go for this. So he's relying on kind of the awkwardness of the opener here to make up the gap against Creator. But Creator, known for his emotional play one way or another. He's been the creator of some ridiculous comebacks, but at the same time, incredible throws. He is possibly the most dynamic player at this level, but not always for the better, as sometimes the game just gets away from him. But he's also never willing to let it go until the options are entirely exhausted. So probably one of the most entertaining Protoss to watch, though also one of the hardest to be a fan of. Zerglings will actually catch the Stalker and the Adept. Oracle comes in, but he's going to lose both. Gets the probe. Creator actually expanding to this low ground base. An interesting choice to start things off. I don't know if he was trying to evade anything in particular. Maybe he just prefers it. All right. Most players like the triangle base because it has a high ground to work with, and you are closer to your main. You can use it for pylons, but it is slightly closer to your opponent's third as well. So if there's some sort of queen all-in coming across, it's a bit of a matter of personal preference. It's just most persons prefer the other one. Same with Zerg as well. Usually you take the triangle base in order to cut down the options towards the main. Make sure that's established, and usually taking the 4th base over to the 3 o'clock. All right. You guys know what clocks are, right? You're old enough. Like with the hands on them. Moving on. Unlike the ones we have above the map right now. Speaking of 5 minutes, 20 seconds in. Significantly later than you'd usually see this sort of Oracle Adept pressure. But the game essentially delayed by about a minute is where we're at by the early shenanigans. Otherwise, remarkably similar to where we'd usually find ourselves. SHIN has chosen a significant amount of Zerglings a clutch of them here, but a pylon and a shield battery forming quite a tunnel that the Zergling's not going to be able to claw their way through easily. A single force field can throw that sideways, but Shin now got 10 more drones on the way. Lair, 4 more gas gassers as well. Twilight Forge, and then he went for a Robo first, by the way. Creator making sure he has the options against roaches. Did he spot... Did Shin spot this? He saw the Robo. He's building a Spire, which has very technically been spotted. He's got a Roach one, and it could be Mutas. Shin has been one of the few players willing to go Mutas on a regular basis. And now Shin, much like Creator, it's not necessarily a good idea, but it's his idea. And that's what's important. There's something to be said for essentially putting your stamp on a style of play. Now, that stamp might be sealing your own death warrant, depending on what you're up against. But in this case, against the... ooh, it looks like there might be an opportunity, but no. In this case, against the Robo opener, it's going to be Charge. He's got Phoenixes now on the way, so I think he realized the Spire or suspects it either way. Shin may very well commit to it. He's got 400 gas in the bank, but Ravagers, any amount of force fields. Creator just with this timing push, an old school style. He pushes out with Immortals and Sentries. He forces the Ravagers, and then he backs off. But the problem is, well, he gets to the Watchtower. What a play! Ends up getting almost all of the units out. Takes some bruising on the Immortal. But gets out at the Watchtower using the choke point as a force field in and of itself. And that means Shin now in an awkward spot to attack in. He will have enough Zerglings to deny the 4th base. He's got 84 drones. Creator! He loses a Phoenix? Was that a Phoenix? No, it's an Oracle. The other Oracle just didn't have any energy, so it looked like a Phoenix, effectively. That's a terrible excuse. Moving on. Infestation Pit, Hydralisk Den. All the fixins here. Both sides still good economy. Shin definitely better, as he takes a 5th base at the gold. Charge is about to complete. But there is still that... He's just getting the entire tech tree. He plays Zerg like it says in the Prima strategy guide. Just get all of the tech and pick only the units you want. Which actually seems to be working out for him so far. He's got 1,100 gas in the bank. In not going for Blink, and instead going for the Robo, Creator has ceded a lot of map control. Immortals are good, but they need protection. They need support. They need a whole support system, at least until you get a stronger economy and can build them almost exclusively. But there's simply not enough units on the field to contest Shin right now, and he's taken severe liberties with his economy. Mass Phoenix is building for Creator, possibly anticipating the Mutas, but there are no Mutas to be seen. He's got the Spire done, but hasn't bothered with it. He is playing that Prima strategy guide Zerg, where this wave I'm going for the Hydras. Next one might be Mutas, and you know, it may very well work out. He realizes Creator at this point, instead of trying to shut down, honestly, Shin, upon realizing that the Spire was scouted, may just have decided no Mutas at all. Get him to build Phoenixes, and Hydras are already on the field, so he's already a step ahead. Without really any other activities here. The mind games go into Shin's favor to start things off. And now Lurker Den, Hydralisk Den. We got range on the way on both. The Phoenixes will get some Overlords, which is a bit of a consolation prize in the grand scheme of things. A couple of Hydras, a bit of a better prize, something a bit more meaningful than, you know, a $20 gift card to a restaurant you don't care about. Well, also, I'm not sure how many restaurants the Protoss are going to because they don't have mounts. 10 minutes today. Lurkers in production. Mothership for Creator. A solid choice as a tactical option. No longer used for the mass recalls into the main, but for threatening it. Kind of like a Doom Drop from Terran, I think is the best way to treat it. Just something that could ruin your game if it gets into the wrong spot. It probably won't, but the threat is there. And Time Warp as well as Cloaking Field can be useful in the right scenario. But the Lurkers on the Bridge of Doom, where crossing through is almost impossible. if the other player is waiting to keep it. But Vipers are out. Mothership about to complete. +2 ground weapons for Creator. But here we go. 200 to 190 supply. Force field's good to start things off. Yanks in a couple of mortals. Get over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And not a great start to the fight. Not at all. As Creator, the backbone of his army, just got obliterated. And now does he have the spine to keep it up? Mothership is completed, though. There's only one Overseer, and a strong gust of wind, or even a weaker one, might be able to take it out, and he could use Cloaking Field. The Mothership could target the Overseer. He uses the Cloak. That Overseer, that's all the detection he has. Just kill the Overseer. Oh my god, Creator. Well, he's still doing a lot here. Well, he gets rid of it. He picks up the rest. The Phoenix is dropping down the lurkers where they can be killed. Now the Cloaking Field is uncontested, and Creator turns it around. Another Overseer comes up, but a beautiful fight out of Creator, and he's able to turn things into his favor. 31 Hydralisk right now for SHIN, but he exhausted his entire bank. He's now lost 3,000 more minerals and 2,000, almost 3 times as much gas. That was a devastating fight there. The Mothership, a great choice. The upgrade's good. And right now, SHIN only has +1. Mothership, well, Time Warp into death. Name a more iconic combo. The Hydras, though, standing their ground. The only splash damage is a single Archon right now. And one carrier is not enough to contest the Hydras on the field. They will push it back. Where did all these Immortals... He lost 4 Immortals, right? Does he have 2 Robos? No. He's really been diligent about Immortal production. Another one goes down. What an action-packed game. These two, more than willing to fight. They'll ask themselves whether or not they can before whether or not they should. And so far, Creator's got the better end of that, but SHIN just has such a massive economy. He comes back with another 200 supply army. And this time, the 5th base is under fire. Well, I guess the 6th one. No, 5th base. I can count. I swear. For realsies. Count on that. The lurkers at the natural. Things getting dicey. Is there another Mothership on the way? No. No Mothership here. A single Overseer. Not relevant against this. No DTs. And Creator's just going for the base trade. He's just giving up this position and gonna try to take out what he can. Which is certainly one of the options. SHIN will be losing his outlying bases, and his army isn't one that can easily be put back together if it's picked apart. He's got all the Hydras and Lurkers on the other side. Just a full-on base trade. Here we go. We'll see if he's able to gut the tech tree and dive. Creator was already losing his base before we started this off, which usually does not bode well when it comes to a base trade. But SHIN has almost nothing back at home. He's popping a Hydra or 2, some Overlords out of the hatcheries, but he isn't going to have really any reinforcements here. Creator is slamming down some cannons at his outlying bases, soon to be his only bases. There's still a Viper in the main. Lurker's morphing as well. There's no Nidus to retreat quickly. Creator still has the option of recall. The Bruised Phoenixes will hunt the Viper to the ends of the earth. Revelation, Sporecrawler helping out. Lurker's scrambling back. SHIN is losing his last bases. Sporecrawler almost kills the carrier on its own. Supplies getting dangerously close to even. Lurkers are back at home. Carriers on both sides. Where's the anti-air? There's still 20 Hydras on the field to 5 carriers. 20 Hydras have 2-1. Now this is an awkward spot for the carriers indeed, but they can be covered by the Phoenixes. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. He's trying to grab whatever units he has in the main, using that high ground against him. There's still a Hydralisk den. There's still a Lurker den. All the tech is relatively intact. Takes down another Lurker. Now SHIN has to fight up his own ramp, but a recall! He may lose 1 carrier and a Phoenix and 1 Brave Zealot, but he gets out. But at what cost? 107 to 82 supply. We're not slowing things down here. As Creator is rebuilding and repowering his main, SHIN is down to 28 drones. I think it worked. Does SHIN know about the base? He has to know about the base to the north. I think that was worth it. I think SHIN, instead of going towards the extra bases, coming back to defend, it's an impossible call to make. Because if you stay, it's going to be trouble. But if you go, It could very well be double. And now 6 more gates, though. That's a bit optimistic. He doesn't really have the economy. I guess they're both kind of on 2 base economy now. So cut almost in half. But relatively even for all that. So the game has not reset, but there's still pieces on the board. And enough economy to rebuild some more. Very importantly, SHIN kept his hive, his Hydra den. I like how he protected them in the main as well. Against this. If he didn't have those, well, disaster. The lurkers just dunked down. I can't believe this army made it all the way here without being scouted. Storm is done. The forge is gone. Couple phoenixes looking for an opportunity. Reinforcements cut off. SHIN can... Not again. Really? Creator just picks up and heads the other way. Are there any Templar back at home? Yes, but with no energy. Feedback is helpful. This is the last mining base here. Of course, SHIN only has so many on his own side of things. Here we go, round 2. And now Creator is about to be revealed. He doesn't have enough money to rebuild a Nexus. We are in an elimination race right now. It's more of a marathon, but the probes are with the army. Creator has not rebuilt their base and is being revealed. SHIN is not much better off, though, as he's got just his natural left, with only so many minerals. Get over here! A carrier down, but he gets a storm in turn. 3 carriers remain. Is it enough? No, the Templar caught a little far forward. Get a set of storms. But actually, no! Oh no, the Templar. There's still so many Templar, though. That was a very costly fight. He needed those Templar. The probes are eating some of the lurker hits. Creator just throwing probes at him. It's still... the probes chasing Hydras. Not exactly the best counter, but may get one. Not quite. Is there any detection? Oh, that's problematic. There is no detection. He can't kill the lurkers. But he can potentially kill all the Hydras, which would allow the carriers to win the game. But he can't rebuild infinite intercept. Oh, no. He has 6 probes, 2 carriers. He warped in 2 zealots. That's the rest of it. You can't build more interceptors if you have no money. He yanks in a carrier. The Hydras, he's not able to launch his intercept. Oh my god. It's a disaster. Creator fights to... I said he fights to the end. Creator fights to 0 supply. He threw everything at him. And throw may very well be the right terminology. What a disaster piece slash action pack slash roller coaster. These two are made for each other. Not once, but twice. And arguably thrice. Did they just pick up and head towards each other's bases, avoiding confrontation until forced into it. Wow. And that's just game 1. Creator, a heartbreaking loss. Or it looked like he actually made the right call in the first base trade. He came out of it, not unscathed, but with a decent position, but he wasn't able to turn it around. That mothership may have made the difference originally, but, well, now we go into game number 2. Jimmy, go into game 2. All right, that's how these things work. Thank you. Okay, well, here we are. A lot of arguable mistakes. I don't think mistakes is quite accurate, but instead just they both decided to drag the game into chaos, and SHIN was the one who survived it just a little bit better. It was an active choice across the board, though. certainly one of the more dynamic Protoss versus Zergs in a matchup that is probably the most dynamic at the moment. The most likely to have a wide array of quickly changing situations. And potentially different styles and compositions for dealing with it. There's a Twilight from Creator here on Oceanborn. So we're gonna start things off a bit differently. We did last game too, but this time it's gonna be Creator who we're playing his tune, if you would. Well, Twilight, robotics facility. Dark Shrine. Of course. DT Rush. Into likely Archon drop, but we'll see how quickly and how easily, if at all, SHIN is able to deal with it. Because any sort of Twilight Council build is made to dictate the drone count of the Zerg. The Stargate will limit it, but you can't force a certain response with the Stargate. Not really. Not compared to the Twilight. The big weakness of the Twilight compared to the Stargate is the mid-game follow-up. The Twilight does not give you nearly as many safe options for scouting. It is more expensive to invest in originally, and by definition, all the units are ground units, one way or another. Which means they can be killed by ground units, one way or another. And as such, Roach timings, Roach Zergling, Roach Baneling, all those fancy things. Those aren't fancy, but it sounded like the right thing to say. Embellishing. The Dark Shrine was scouted. Spore Crawler on the way. As he just goes straight into Archons. Creator's supply blocked. Hard supply blocked. He can't. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is actually really bad. This is a big mistake by Creator. Oh, we need a Creator cam right now. I'm going to have to figure that is an elementary mistake, my dear Watson. But right when you want to warp in DTs for either an early timing or an Archon drop, you cannot get supply block then. 62 out of 62. This one will affect the game dramatically. Usually supply blocks, they hurt, but having no pylon at all and only able to warp in a single DT, not even enough for an Archon. Rough. And that's going to make it a lot easier for SHIN. Well, okay. So SHIN only made like 20 Zerglings. He doesn't even have any roaches. He's getting quite greedy with this. Oh, Brenda! And don't come, we don't like your kind around here, Protoss. Karen, you can't talk like that nowadays. Yep, but we don't like them. Yeah, don't say it. You don't say it. All right. Sorry, Creator with Blink on the way behind. It's gonna be a Spire again. SHIN had a Spire that entire previous game and did not use it for anything. So the mind game was strong, as it felt like Creator was kind of keeping Mutas living rent-free in his head the entire time. He built 8 Phoenixes and held them in reserve like he was gonna surprise the Mutas that never came. We've all been there. It's essentially Creator sitting back in the shower like, yeah, if I had built 8 Phoenixes against those Mutas, if Coach had put me in the 4th quarter, we would have won regionals. Alright, but those Phoenixes didn't work out. Could throw a football over them mountains. Robo Bay and a Spire on the way. Quite a deck headed. This time it is going to be Mutas. We didn't rewind, right? This is the same situation with the War Prism. The Queen still standing by, ready to drive it out. Right. The sentries, who's surrounding her, slaps down a force field. So the mutas are on the way out. Currently, the anti-air is 1 star. Well, 3 Archons are pretty solid, but they don't have much more than shouting distance for range. And they can't shout because they don't have... Okay, moving on. Archon's greatest enemy is anything out of arm's reach. And mutas have a tendency to be a little further than that, but juggling the most high-effort, low-effectiveness Phoenix here. The Warpers of Archon drop. Alright. The Phoenix she tells you not to worry about. I like my power overwhelming, if you will. More DT Archons coming together. Mutas for SHIN. He's got an infestation but on the way. He's not fallen prey to the oldest mistake in this matchup, which is just getting so, or in any matchup is so, which is getting so stuck on the mutas that you don't end up having any sort of transition. Because it doesn't matter if you're at 200 supply, if your mutas all evaporate when a few Archons get a twinkle in their eye and enough weapon upgrades. The Archon drop at home. Perimeter defense Archon drop. Certainly one way to deal with it. The things Protoss will do to not have to build a Stargate. Oh, this isn't gonna work. The Archon drop's actually doing great. Mutas flying by. Blink is done. Right? Am I crazy? Yeah. Not really mutually exclusive, but... Muta's heading towards the 4th. They'll get another probe or 2. Creator is down to 63, which is starting to cut into the economy. And Muta's flying all sorts of around here. And most of the game has been focused on chasing them down for a while now. Hive is on the way. 200 supply for SHIN. As he micros the Mutas. Will he bring the units to crush the 4th? Or is he just going to wait for Creator to try something? The hallucinated Phoenix gets in, sees the Hive morphing. Wow. The Archons getting in the way of each other and the Stalkers. Classic. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Adrenal glands as well. "24 more Banelings, but Creator has equal army supply. He's about to finish +2 weapon. I love the 1 Colossus. Just for clearing the wheat from the chaff here. The Zerglings need to be cut down ideally before the... Oh my god, he's got 10 Archons. Ah! I'm sorry. He's got 12 Archons. Well, that is power overwhelming indeed. How many Banelings? 64 and counting. Now, Archon... What? I have no idea. It's gonna come down to the fight. If the Banelings are able to somehow splash across these Archons in a relatively efficient way. I say relatively because there is no efficient way. And here come the Banelings! They're rolling through! The first wave, the Immortals help it out. Corrosive Bow has to be dodged by SHIN's units, but still many of the Archons are intact. 3 Ultras in production. SHIN back to 200 supply instantaneously, but Creator has enough Archons and Immortals to continue the fight. +2 melee wasn't done either, which certainly cut into the effectiveness of the Banelings. The Colossus stands tall, has no other option. Immortals still beneath him. And another wave of Zerglings, and those Ultras are coming out, though they won't have chitinous plating for another 20-30 seconds. And without the chitinous plating, well, this army, it's not too important against. They all hit so hard anyways, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Some of the Zealots slipping in will find the drone stashed away. Ultras 10 seconds, chitinous plating. He's not going to wait for him. Ultras coming in from the south side. Banes from the north. The Queens to back him up. No transfuses. There's only one Ultra. He's just spamming the transfuses with what he has, but he misses it on the other one. Finally, the Colossus, the Muta's back, and here come the Ultras again. And Creator starting to be whittled down as the Archons falter. So do the Protoss. The Ultra finally obliterated to the north. 21 drones down. The Archon ripped apart. And Creator down to 75 supply. Units flying every which way up towards the surface. Creator ends the fight with more workers. He doesn't kill a single base, but this brawl will continue. Stalkers blink in. Zerglings on top of everything. They got adrenal glands, they got +2, but DTs are warped in. The Zerglings are on the probes, though, and they're eviscerating them. 9 probes down. He's running away with the rest of the Zerglings. And now SHIN has retaken the Worker League. He's getting Infestors. He's getting Neural Parasite. He's getting Overlord Speed. I guess DTs are that much of a threat. But this low supply game certainly favors Creator until Creator's units get turned against him by the Infestors, potentially. Creep spread getting cleaned up, but again, this time instead of a base trade, it was just a head-on collision. And they're both walking away with permanent damage. But they're still going. They still have legs to stand on, both of them with a surprisingly large amount, besides the Archons, which are extra powerful because they're the only unit right now who doesn't have legs. Thus immune to such pittances. I'm a scientist. Ultras, Infestors, Queens. Quite a composition coming together for SHIN, who's managed to rebuild. But Creator, so a key part, not a single base has been killed. Probes have been chipped away. Drones have been cut down. But Nexi and hatcheries remain intact. And the lives of workers pale in comparison to the ability to build them continuously. Good force field, but still some more probes will die. The home defense Archon could only do so much. Oh, Burrow is on the way. SHIN actually didn't have Burrow for the Infestors. I think he tried to burrow them and then realized. And that's approximately 1 Burrow upgrade of time ago. It was after Neural Parasite was done. He was like, all right. Shields level 1 completed. The economies were battered down so much that we're left in this scenario. We're gonna do it again. But this time the main bases will be mined out. The naturals drawing up. The upgrades will be better. The units more deadly. The stakes higher. The likes and subscribes smashed. Ultras, Immortals, Archons. No, those are not all. Those are alike. Immortals, Archons, and Charlatans. There are no Ultras here at the moment. Another DT cut down. Creator bleeding out units, whereas SHIN has managed to remax. It wasn't enough before, but Creator has less, and he's less prepared to deal with what SHIN's bringing to the table. Mass Ultras. 117 Zerglings on the field. He's going to have 5, 6, 7 Ultralisks. And how many Infestors? 6 of them underneath. A wave of Neural Parasite. Oh, and a Greater Spire is now on the way. But with that is a distant future, assuming the next attack is not a deadly one. Here comes SHIN. Another, how many Immortals? He's got 7 Immortals, 8 Archons. Well, It just comes down to the fight. They have the armies. They're building up. Neither player seems willing to take that next step. Technically, SHIN built the Greater Spire. There's no fleeping. There's not even a Stargate for Creator. So he's a long way off. I think both players were expecting an attack from the other. And that's why they're sitting back in such a way. But we've kind of slipped back into a full-on macro game. Well, Creator only has 56 probes. SHIN doesn't have a huge amount of drone. Really? He recalled 1 DT. Okay. It worked, I guess. I don't know about that. Alright. Definitely a emotional choice. Oh, no, 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 no! The Zerglings! The Zerglings get into the main. The Ultras, though, not a fight they want to take. The Immortals, too late to stop the Zerglings, but just in time. And now another wave of units over to the right flank will be chased out. There are 12 Archons on the field. I've never seen Archons of this magnitude. Well, it's incredibly rare. They are very vulnerable to Neural Parasite, but the Infestors have to get in position. SHIN, any bit of this army will easily crumble, annihilated by the Archons. The Archon's actually not so good against Archons if they get Neural Parasited. But any distraction is important in any way to whittle down the size of this army. Creator actually 30 army supply up right now. +3 is about to complete for SHIN, though. So this is the best case scenario, possibly the best timing he could have fought. Multiple observers take it out. He's bringing what he can together. That is a beefy Protoss army indeed. DT's warped in at home to defend. Neural Parasite onto the Archons. The front line is turned against him. But the fight over to the left flank, well, Banelings are closing the distance. The Zerglings are thinned out. The Archons will be unleashed on top of the army. And Creator, with power over the Broodlords. He actually built some Broodlords. He's got 7 more Ultralists on the way. Broodlord blunked upon. That's not enough Brood. He needs way more than that. Half a dozen is not gonna cut it. It's not even gonna make a slight rip in the edge and mess it all up. Another wave of Neural Parasites, but he's not getting enough of the power units here. He's just ignoring it. He doesn't even care. He's on top of the Broodlords. 9 Ultralists in production, but as a great man once said, when I'm far ahead and I want to lose, I make Ultras. It's been a while since Idra's time. We've buffed Ultras several times since then, in various ways. They've gone on a diet plan. But this army simply does not, Ultras do not, he has 6 Immortals right now. He's lost 7 throughout this game, but that is enough to just take one quick glance at the Ultras and cause them to spontaneously implode. Example A. Example G. He is blunking Stalkers to body block the Ultras in towards the Immortals, which is... wow. And Creator. Oh, shit. What have you done? He rebuilt the Ultras of all things, and he's managed to lose 19 of them, alongside 400 Zerglings and countless Banelings. Creator takes it back in Game 2 with a ridiculously powerful army, a remarkable amount of patience, and a whole lot of Archons. These two were made for each other. Again, it seems like someone gets ahead. This time around, it looked like SHIN had the advantage, and it ended up slipping away. Well, more like he threw it at a wall and tried to see if it would stick, but... whereas Game 1, it looked like Creator had it, but SHIN was able to sneak it out. And that brings us into I can't believe that SHIN let this map go, but Amphion will be game number 3, the decider of this ridiculous match. I love the brawling. Okay, we don't have this super technical late game super army. Can I say super 2 or 3 more times? Super chat? I don't know. But you guys are the real heroes. Where was I? Creator builds the brawling army. There were no spellcasters aside from maybe some sentries. No Templar with Storm. Not even any oracles. Some Blink Stalkers maybe, but otherwise just beef. Or the Protoss equivalent. Whereas SHIN also, besides the Infestors, which I appreciate. Creator's counter to the Neural Parasite was having so many units worth of Neural Parasiting, he couldn't get them all. It's like, if I have 12 Archons and 8 Immortals, and you Neural Parasite with 6 Infestors, well, I still got plenty of Archons and Immortals, so that works, I guess. He just straight up ignored the... That's ridiculous. You might be wondering, well, what could he have done? What could SHIN have done? Well, the Broodlords were the option. It's not incredible, but a dozen Broodlords with some Neural Parasites underneath that army is a bit range and vertically challenged. Countering Broodlords with Archon Immortal is optimistic. But when the Broodlord count is low enough that the Archons can just melt the Broodlings while the Blink Stalkers move into position underneath, yeah. I do appreciate the commitment to Ultras. Alright, I enjoy Ultralists. I think most players do. Especially the Protoss when they have half a dozen Immortals, right, to blast them to pieces. It's very hard. Like, I think... Essentially, Serral has ruined it for everyone by playing perfectly so often, or near to it. But it's very easy to, from your limited perspective, think maybe just 6 more Ultras to clean it up, and then like, you get locked into a unit composition. And you keep going down that road just a little bit too far, and you don't have time to turn around. Well, let's turn into a new game. Amphion. Very, for the first time, relatively standard start, despite the less than standard map. We got Oracles starting to harass the drones, the Queens having words and knitting needles for them and wishing they could fly. But Creator going for the Triumvirate. And a Robo behind it. Looks like he is insistent on that Robo follow-up. The vast majority of Protoss nowadays... What am I watching? Okay. Alright. Other Oracle... Oh my god. Round and round we go! Oracle. Oracle comes in, Oracle goes out. You can't explain that. No. Creator does manage to keep him alive, but gets minimal drone damage. Robo, some sentries on the way. Roach Warren now for SHIN, who's been quite diligent about building up that probe count in a timely manner. Adepts, really? He microed it. He knew what he was dealing with. He went for it. Okay, Creator saw a bunch of Zerglings and 2 Queens. He's like, no, I got this, bro. Aim for the bushes. I don't think... Because he moved the Adepts at the last second, so he was watching it. Alright then. Well... optimistic indeed. I think he was trying to distract for his oracles, but... that has not... Oh, what a save. Guys, just... It's enough. That's enough! It's time to stop. Oh my god. Can he hit him? The Oracle's badly bruised. 1 kill, 6 kills. Was it worth it? Emotionally? Oh, it's a German taxi build! SHIN! Ladies, all right, your chariot awaits! Huzzah! What, Lucia, what was that? What was that? I'm on an ancient Rome bit. What is Rome? Is that a Terran thing? What am I? Oh my god. So, he's sitting in the middle of the map. He saw the queen drop. Recalls out. The queen's point blank range. The queens will take the damage. I'm not sure what the force field's supposed to. Roach Ravager. Shield battery overcharge. Probes. Immortals. The queens are brought along in order to kill the oracles. Well, somebody probably should tell SHIN that. What a save! He picks up the immortal to save it from the Ravagers. The immortal moves out of the way. It will survive a little longer. Eventually gets taken out. What a play. Absolutely madness in this fight. The Ravager Ling is still breaking through. The oracles are out of energy. Limited production here for Creator is making it difficult to put together enough units. How many gates? He's got 7 gates, but he just can't seem to afford it. He's got a few trickles of energy on the oracles, uses them to help take out the Ravagers. But another immortal is surrounded by Zerglings and overrunning the Zealots as well. A dozen mutas? Where did they SHIN, again, building up a huge tech switch. And this is actually a beautiful choice. Though there are... Did he see the Spire? No. Is he anticipating? He's building Phoenixes. He might know SHIN that well. How many Phoenix? 1 Phoenix is not going to be enough, obviously. For a dozen mutas... In fact, the mutas were just scouted by the oracles, which they didn't even attack on the way by. Going straight for the main, building shield batteries. No blank. He's got to start. There's an Archon and a Sentry. Just, you know, whoever's nearby. They try to target it down. Flies over the Archon, fighting the Archon. Try to kill the Sentry. Does kill the Archon. Loses a muta. Gonna lose several more. Reaching a critical mass of mutas is incredibly important. And it... Oh, no. All right, interesting. The dance continues, the dancing of death here in the skies, which should ultimately end in the mutas dying, as long as Creator makes exactly 0 mistakes on his micro. And so far, playing it near perfect. Oh my god, the absolutely deadly dance. Another exchange. Wow. These two. The Oracle is still going to work, finding a lot more success. The mutas declined to kill them on the way by. You might not have noticed. And now it's gonna really cut into the... He kills 10, 12. The mutas eventually knock out the Oracles. One very optimistic Zergling working on the 4th Nexus here. Storm is in production. And, SHIN has not rebuilt any mutas. He went with the initial 12. It's down to 6 now. After that incredibly deadly and dramatic dance between the fastest air units in the game. Now this one's just kind of bullying. Bet you guys wish you had... Ah, okay. Phoenix's fear confrontation. Well, the mutas are dead. 69 drones for SHIN, which is nice enough for Roachling Bling. He does not have an infestation pit, which means this storm choice is absolutely massive. It is a deadly option against this. There are no other later game units. He just has +1 ranged attack. If that storm is done, he has 2 Templar. Another Immortal caught. This just keeps happening. There's a zoning. The storm is done. Huge, huge storm. He's trying to hold on to the other one. Loses so many probes. A mediocre storm to follow it up, but the Banelings have thinned out here. More Warpins. Micro's away with the Phoenixes. Picking up the Ravagers. Force fields to try to lock it. Does he have Roach Speed? No! He forgot Roach Speed! There's no way he can't afford it. Oh, Shin! What have you done? Oh, knocks the Immortal out of the air when it was picked up by the Phoenixes. 11 probes down, but that's not going to be enough. Shin's army, you can't compete with less. He built drones behind it, you fool! He does not have a hive. It's a disaster for Shin. Creator has the army he needs. He's made the right calls, and now he's reaping what he's sown. Creator is in pole position to turn this all around. My god, the amount of Phoenix dodging is ridiculous. The Queens. Put her down! Brenda, you flew again! I know. It was terrible. Well, Creator backs off. Probably not confident. He can. When was the last time he checked the main base? I think it's been a while. If he checks and there's no hive, there really is no reason to fight. His army, we saw how well the Immortal Archon charged left without Storm did against Hive Tech. And now that there isn't any, yeah, and Shin gets Roach Speed a bit late. That's actually kind of disastrous. He gets into the main, assassinates a queen, spots no hive. So incredibly important right now. Takes down some more drones. Another wave of Ravager Bling. Shin's feeling very all in here. He's got the supply. It comes down to the force fields. Comes down to the storm. Creator, force field across the bow, but the Banelings are trickling through into the storms where they'll melt. Is there enough behind? Does he have a battery overcharge? Immortal and Zealots. A storm misses the mark. But the Archons are coming together. He takes out another one. War Prism wanders in, not being used for micro. He tries to get a bird, but he loses all the Templar. Creator, no! Hold up. Meanwhile, the Zealots, he's got another. Wait, how many prisms? There are 2 prisms. And Shin's going forward. He throws up some corrosive vials, which is kind of describing the ability in general. And now, well, it looks like the Immortal Archon enough to drive this back. Though still a haphazard fight. The double, he picked up an Immortal Archon drop here. And the Archon in the red HP. Do you know how rare that is? That's like 2 HP, 1 or 2. Those are literally the only choices. Meanwhile, more Roach Ravagers are on the way. Shin's army is not supposed to be able to compete here. And still is very much struggling. He's lost 7,000 more minerals, though comparable gas. It's not over yet. My god. The 18 kill, 2 health Archon. Why are there roaches here? Oh, the Archon dies. Shin still no hive. He hasn't found the space for it. Not even an infest. Oh, he does have an infestation, but he hasn't started the hive though. These Phoenixes paying dividends here. But Banelings roll in, and no reaction from Creator. Not until it's too late. 14 probes. Oh, he didn't lose the static defense. Sprays out some corrosive bile, but the Phoenixes wander by. And 16 probes. It's not over yet. That was enough to even out the economies. The fact that Creator now is down 10 workers, though he does. He's really trying to just end this before Creator can stabilize. Another wave of storms. And the Immortals. Shield battery overcharge. 3 Immortals. The more Banelings rolling in. But that's enough Immortals, and the battery overcharge has paid off entirely. The battery never died. But SHIN, on the other hand, may very well... GG! Creator takes 2. And he just brings it home. What a series. It might not have been the best series, but it was a great one. These two made for each other. Just this brutal back and forth. Neither player willing to tech up when they could try to batter their opponent down. And in 3 games in a row of the most action-packed StarCraft 2 I've ever seen, Creator comes out with a Pyrrhic 2-1 victory. Every game felt like it could have gone either way, but today it goes Creators. Hopefully, this made your day a little bit better like it did mine. And if you got the means of motivation, you also check out Patreon, YouTube membership. If you haven't yet seen the second channel, that'd be awesome. Winter Gaming TV, or check the description, which I assume people read at some point, right? Jimmy, it's in the description. Nobody but liking and subscribing is still free for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.